For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Sashni Mudley. Nikki Stubbs joins me to discuss her cookbook, For Friends and Family. You are in the publishing sector. What was your motivation for compiling this book?
I set out to put all my recipes in one place. I sat down at our dining room table about a year ago. I was missing my parents, both of whom had died, and I sat down to gather all my favorite recipes that reminded me of them in one place, and had a look at it and thought, hey, this would make a great book. This is exactly the book I'd like to have. So I submitted it to a publisher, and they agreed to take it.
What types of recipes can we expect from this book?
This is food that you can cook in a hurry, food that you want to use for celebrations. It's simple, easy, nourishing meals. The cakes and treats and puddings are all for high days and holidays, and when you have a little bit more time. But it's the kind of food that you'd like to feed your family and friends without fuss, without huge competition, without making statements, and that will please from the tiniest toddler to the oldest person around the table.
You have cooked in various countries and also taken courses. Can you tell us about some of these experiences?
Yeah, I've cooked in London, and I cooked in France for a while. I ran a little chalet in France, which was wonderful because it was high up in the Alps, far away from anything. And I think that was probably my most important cooking experience, because I was cooking for the local people and for real people and for the workers who would come around and sit around a lunch table and need a big nourishing meal in the middle of the day without any fuss and any complication, and that was wonderful because we had to source seasonally and locally, and it had to be reasonably priced, but it also had to be very generous and honest.
There are a few traditional South African recipes in your book. What makes South African dishes unique?
I think what makes South African dishes unique is that the influences from all over the place. So if you think of any of our classic South African dishes, or that are considered classic South African dishes, they come from elsewhere. Milk tart, for example, it might come from the Dutch cooking tradition, but it might also come from the English Victorian pudding tradition. Bobotie is a Malay dish. Our cook sisters, we have two different versions, and they've evolved over time, but essentially that it also has Malay roots. Our curry traditions are absolutely fantastic. We have curries to brag about worldwide, but because of where they come from and the tradition that they've come through in South Africa, they are very varied. A Malay curry and a Durban curry and a Zulu curry are all incredibly different, as is an Afrikaans curry that is served at a church bazaar.
Your book is littered with personal photographs. What was the reason behind this?
So much of who I am and my food and my cooking comes from the people who raised me. And all the family photographs in the book were taken by my mum, who had this huge photographic collection of us all growing up. And it just seemed important to have her voice there.
What is your philosophy when it comes to food?
Food is something that should be nourishing and something that should be enjoyed. It shouldn't be something that's used as a threat or as a reward or as a competition.
What is the best piece of advice you would give a home enthusiast?
Enjoy yourself and have fun. At the beginning of the book, I talk about the equipment that you need in the kitchen, and I think we've become so gadget driven in our kitchens, and it's unnecessary. You can pretty much do everything you need to with a wire whisk, a good sharp knife, and a clean dish towel.
What is your favorite dish and why?
I don't have a favorite dish. I love eating. I'm probably incredibly greedy. But the two that mean the most to me in the book are the milk tart, because it reminds me of my mum, and the chocolate mousse because it reminds me of my dad.
That was Nikki Stubbs discussing her cookbook, For Friends and Family.